So many people are moving to Sunterra because of this amazing lagoon. Y'all, just check it out. Wait, where is it? Howdy friend, my name is Paul Holub with Traditions Realty. And this video is all about Sunterra. So I'm gonna share with you what I like about the neighborhood and what I don't like about the neighborhood. Because there's definitely some challenges with living in the neighborhood, and you need to know about that before you buy a home there. And be sure to stick around to the end because I'm gonna talk about what I would personally do if I was looking to buy a home in Sunterra. So some tips there on that. But let's start off with why you came here in the first place, and that's to learn about some of the challenges with Sunterra. My first thing I don't like about Sunterra is that it just has a ton of rentals. Currently, as I'm making this video right now, there are 89 homes for rent in the neighborhood. That's a lot of homes. Now it is a big master plan community. They are building lots of homes. So, and some of these, are actually from the builders that actually are building to rent. So they're not trying to sell, they're building and they're gonna rent them out. Some are more townhome products, some are single family homes with a shared wall, but then others are just regular single family homes that they're gonna rent straight away. And so you have that builder, but then also you have a lot of investors moving into Sunterra, and they're snatching up some of these properties because they're more affordable and they can rent them out rather easily. And so that is not super great as a homeowner because one, you want people to take pride and ownership of their property, take care of it, their lawn, because that, if someone's not taking care of that and have some tenants in there that's not, doing a good job of that, that can really hurt your property value. Can hurt people wanting to say, hey, I actually don't really want to move into that section or area of Sunterra or in Sunterra in general. So that's one challenge with renters. I'm not knocking people that need to rent a house. I help people rent homes all the time, but that can be a challenge as a homeowner. And just know that most likely, I have a crystal ball, but most likely Sunterra is going to be maybe a quarter to a third of the homes will be owned by investors or people that need to rent it out. So that could be a big deal to you, or it could not, but that's the first challenge. The second challenge with Sunterra is that there's just a ton of homes for sale. So currently, as I make this video, there are 266 homes for sale in Sunterra. That's just a ton of homes. And now to be fair, not all of those are ready to go right now. Many of them are builder homes where they're just starting, so it's just a form, a foundation, or they're about halfway through or getting close, so there are various degrees of building, but for the most part, having that many homes is great for buying. Again, lots of options, but it's not so great when you need to go sell. And so if you need to sell and they're still building in the neighborhood, you expect that you're gonna have a lot more competition with the builders and all the incentives they're providing, but also you just have more homeowners trying to sell your home, and that's gonna kind of put a limit on how much your property is going to appreciate over time. So it's a great option for buying houses and having all these builders and resale homes, but it's not so great when you need to go and sell your house. Third challenge with Sunterra is that they have a bunch of low quality home builders. Now there's some really great builders in Sunterra, but then there's some that are not so great. So kind of a buyer beware, and you get what you pay for kind of thing. And so definitely do your due diligence. And I'm gonna do a whole video on the different tiers of builders. Some that are just really great and almost always do a great job. And then some they're just gonna have to kind of take a chance on, and really do your own due diligence with inspections and holding the builder's feet to the fire that they build you the best house possible. So that video is in the works, so be sure to subscribe so you know when it's available. The fourth challenge with Sunterra is the lower rated schools. Now, Sunterra is zoned to two different school districts, Katy ISD and Royal ISD. Now, Katy ISD is a phenomenal school district. It's probably one of the best, if not the best, in the greater Houston area. And so the schools there are good. You can see them here on the screen. They're pretty much all rated B, A, or a few newer schools are not quite rated yet. So hopefully they are a B or A. So good schools on the Katy side, but the Royal ISD side are not so great. Royal ISD is a small school district. They basically have just three schools right now, and they're gonna build a new elementary school right by Sunterra. And so hopefully that is a highly rated school, but you can see them here on the screen. The three schools in Brookshire in Royal ISD are rated rather low. And so it's just, again, just not the same scale as you would find in KDISD as far as administration, the number of schools, and how well it's run, as well as the prestige of Rural ISD. So I hope it's a great school, and I hope they keep getting better. It's just, if you want good schools, be in Katy, but if you need the best schools, then you might need to look in another neighborhood. Number 5 challenge with Sunterra is higher taxes. Now, this is a challenge for many people relocating to Texas. We do have higher property taxes. You do get your homestead exemption, but if you are gonna buy a home in a newer area, just know your property taxes are gonna be higher, whether that's this part of Katy, out in Fulshire, Cypress, anywhere around the Houston area. Pretty much you're gonna have higher property taxes as they have, start to build more commercial areas. They have a higher tax base. They have to put in all the utilities, and so it's just more expensive. So while that's going on, your property taxes tend to be a little bit higher, and over time they tend to come down. Not always, but they tend to come down. Currently, the tax rates in Sunterra are about 3.3% to around 3.5%. Some a little lower, some a little higher. And so you're gonna have to factor that into your monthly budget, which may raise your monthly payments. Number 6 challenge with the neighborhood is that the roads are trash. So if you drive out to Sunterra, you'll see that most of the ways to get there, you're driving on a 2-lane road that's full of potholes, and there's a deep ditch on either side. And so it's a challenge to get there many times. Once you get in Sunterra, it's beautiful. They did a great job of designing the landscaping. The roads are wide, and so it's great there, but just getting to it is not super great. And it may take a while for them to widen the roads and the infrastructure to catch up. So it's just something you're gonna have to live with for a while. This next one is somewhat related to number 6, and that is that it's gonna take you about 20 minutes to get to just about anything. And it's not the end of the world. You just have to know, like, hey, if you wanna get to a restaurant or go do shopping, you're gonna have to just drive 20 minutes before you have some opportunity to go and do those things. Thankfully, there's HEB about 12 minutes away. And you do have good access to Highway 99 at Grand Parkway, or as well as I-10. And so that's great, but just something you need to know when you move into the neighborhood. So this next challenge is not the end of the world, but it's just really annoying. And so the developer promised to put in these pocket parks throughout Sunterra. And a pocket park is just kind of a smaller little park right within the different sections. So it's not gonna be massive like you'd have when you go to the retreats or the Soul Club. It's just kind of a little playground, in your neighborhood you just can walk to with your kids or a dog. And so it's really nice. It's a nice thing to have. It's a really great amenity. The challenge was that the developer just kind of put in some not so great quality, stuff, like a couple swings here or this or that, and just, it didn't feel like they did a good job or really lived up to their promises. And it made a lot of homeowners really mad that they actually have an article about it in the paper. And so it's kind of annoying, but if you think about it, my kids would spend 2 hours playing on a mound of dirt, and have the best time of their lives. So, the kids, they don't care, but for the most part, like if you're a homeowner and you're promised a really nice park, these pocket parks, you would be frustrated too. And if you kind of compare, the Sunterra pocket park versus, Cane Island, it's night and day. But again, you're getting a nice master plan community in Sunterra, but some of these things won't be, top of the line. So just something you have to know when you buy in Sunterra. So you're probably wondering, buddy, hey, when are you gonna actually talk about the lagoon? That's why I came here, and that's what I'm wondering, what the heck's going on? Well, you're in luck. I'm gonna talk about it right now. It's some of the frustrations that many homeowners have about the lagoon. And the biggest frustration with the lagoon is that it kept getting pushed back, and pared down. And so many homeowners are frustrated that the developer hasn't fulfilled their promises of building lagoon on time. They started selling homes in 2022, and it's supposed to be finished in 2023. It wasn't. It's supposed to be finished in 2024. It wasn't. Now they're building it. They're building the lagoon. You can see from these aerial shots that they're building it, and it will be ready in 2025. Not quite sure when, but things are moving forward. And we know that they can build this lagoon because they've done it in multiple neighborhoods. Did it in Balmora and Humble, and it was really nice. Had a little bar there, restaurants, and they would give you drink service. I don't think this is gonna have that, but that was pretty cool. Lago Mar on 45 South on your way to Galveston. There's a 12-acre lagoon. That's pretty awesome. So we know that Land Tejas, which was the developer, that was purchased by Starwood Development is, can do this and will build a really beautiful lagoon. It's just the frustration of the promises like, hey, this is gonna be ready, and then they started to pare it down. It was originally a 3.5 acre lake, then 2.7, now it's gonna be 2.5 acres, which is still massive, but I can see, again, as a homeowner, that's very frustrating. And they also pared it down in the sense that I was supposed to have some swim-up bars, as well as an infinity pool, and even kind of like a little wedding venue. Now, one, I don't know why any homeowner would want to pay for a wedding venue in their HOA fees. Maybe it's supposed to be just kind of like a clubhouse, and you could make it a wedding venue. I'm not quite sure, but the swim-up bar does sound pretty nice. Infinity pool would be pretty awesome too, but at least a swim-up bar, I mean, that's not that hard to throw in. Anyway, so I think it's going to be nice. It's just, again, the frustration of the promises not kept. So keep this in mind, like the amenities at Sunterra are, have not met the homeowners' promises, but compared to many entry-level neighborhoods, and I'm not saying Sunterra is just entry-level, but many more affordable homes are built in just kind of a basic community where you have like just a playground, the communal area, or a playground in like a small pool. And here in Sunterra, you're gonna have a lagoon and all the stuff at the retreat, which I'll go into a little bit later. Like you have some higher quality amenities that most other entry-level or to mid-level neighborhoods they just don't have. And so I do like that about it. So that kind of brings me to some of the positives of living in Sunterra, because I don't want to be all doom and gloom. I want you to know the challenges, but I do want to share some of those positives of why many people choose to live here. Some of the first and best things about Sunterra is just, man, the dream of home ownership.
America.
People getting into their own house, getting out of apartments, getting out of rental homes, and having your own house. I mean, that is awesome. I'm not gonna knock anybody, trying to fulfill that dream, and I want to encourage that because that's, I highly believe in home ownership as a real estate agent. That's important to me. So I'm not gonna knock anybody doing that, and being able to get in with less down, especially if you're buying a new home and the rate buy downs and all that fun stuff with the builders, what they're doing right now. That's pretty awesome, and it kind of lowers that barrier to entry for many home buyers to get into the neighborhood. So you just have to make sure you can pay that mortgage once you get foreclosed on or have a short sale. But that is pretty awesome, and I'm never gonna knock that. So the next thing I like about the neighborhood is just the amenities. I've already talked about it a little bit, but the lagoon is gonna be awesome. The amenities right now at the retreat are top notch. I mean, it has a pool and lazy river, as well as a fitness center, a little clubhouse, great playground and grassy area, splash pad, and they're even building like a game room for ping pong and foosball, and be able to watch the game and hang out. So there's some really great amenities that are way better than what homes and neighborhoods with these price point homes are going to find. So that's definitely awesome. And so I think if you're going to use those amenities, it's definitely a great reason to consider moving to Sunterra. The next positive is that the developer does have a little bit higher building standards than some other comparable neighborhoods. Now stay with me here a little bit. One example, and what I notice when I'm driving around and looking at houses, I see that on the exterior of these houses, you'll see brick all the way around for most of these, 1 and 2 story homes. Whereas when you go to comparable neighborhoods of same price point, you'll see just siding all the way around, or brick on the front and then siding everywhere else. Just a little bit extra cost to have brick there versus the siding. So may make your house a little bit more expensive, but it just has a nicer feel to it. There's a higher quality. Now on the inside, it could be a little bit different story. You definitely have to do your due diligence, but I do like that there. It just feels nicer in the master plan community. As of right now, they've just done a great job of landscaping and putting some nice trees. And so it just doesn't feel cheap. It feels like a nicer quality neighborhood. So number 4 reason why I like Sunterra is that the HOA fees are manageable. So if you're not in a gated neighborhood, your HOA fee annually is going to be about $800, plus there's an additional $400 fee, and then there's a $200 alarm fee, because the alarm's already kind of built into the homes. And so, $1,400 annually can be a little expensive for some, but for all the amenities you get, you may not have to get a gym membership if you just use the gym there. You can definitely save some money that way. If you are in a gated neighborhood, it tends to be around $1,400. Now, this is why the developer is taking care of the HOA. Once the developer passes on to the homeowners, the management of the community, those prices could change depending on how much it costs to run the lagoon and all the other amenities. The 5th thing I like about the neighborhood is that it's a decent location as far as getting to I-10 and Grand Parkway goes. there's some new developments in the Katy area, in Fulcher and Cypress. It just takes you forever to get to any major highways. And Sunterra has decent access to both. Again, the roads aren't great, but the location is not bad, especially as they continue to build out west toward Brookshire and north toward Waller. It's going to be a good location for a long time, and so I think it will be more desirable to be a little bit closer to the freeways in the future. And the next great thing about Sunterra is you get to buy a new home. I mean, that's awesome. So not only can you buy a new house and have everything fresh and clean, like buying a new car, you get to have all those incentives that the builder is going to help you with. So if you use their lender and whatnot, they're going to help you buy down your interest rate to this more affordable price. Right now, many of those builders are helping you get down to about 5%. The going rate's about 7.25% or so. So I do think that's pretty awesome. And they're also going to help out with some of those closing costs, especially if you're buying a current inventory home. And so again, that's just going to make home ownership more affordable, and especially the joy of having a new house is pretty awesome. All right, now I want to share with you what I would do if I was purchasing a home right now in Sunterra. So first off, I would make sure that I was going to be in the Houston area in this home for 7 to 12 years. Because I want to make sure that they finish all of the new builds. So if I needed to sell my house in Sunterra, I wouldn't have to compete with a brand new house. So let's say you bought your home for $350,000, and then you go and sell it, 2 years later, and you're trying to, get out as best as you can, and so you're going to list it for $375,000. Well, if the builder's building your same floor plan, it's all the same features and amenities, and they're building it for $365,000, pretty much every buyer is going to be going to the builder, especially with all the incentives and also just the fact that you can buy a brand new house for that price that much cheaper is going to be more desirable. And so it really limits how much you'll be able to sell your home for and how much your appreciation is going to be. The nice thing is that if you buy early, they tend to start the home prices at a lower price and slowly increase them over time. So that same $350,000 home, by the time they finish the neighborhood, could now more be like $390,000. So not always a guarantee, but it's pretty common, especially in our hot sellers market we've had here in the past 4 or 5 years. And so that is definitely something to do. Have a longer mindset if you're going to buy in Sunterra in any new neighborhood, particularly that we don't have to compete with the builders. The second thing I'd make sure to do was to be able to buy a house with a payment that I can afford. And so obviously you don't want to be, house rich and cash poor. You want to be able to have a nice house that you can maintain and not be so stressed out that you can't afford to buy any furniture or do anything else. Sometimes you buy a house and you're a little stretched, that happens. But again, you need to make sure it's within your budget, within your bounds there. And so I would make sure that wouldn't be a stressor. And I definitely always recommend, if you follow the Dave Ramsey steps, check it out. It's something that my family and I have done and really helped us out with making sure our finances are on the same page and having a great plan, a financial plan. So I definitely recommend that information in the description. Next, this one's super simple, is I would always buy in Katy ISD. Unless Waller really gets to establish itself, I might consider it, maybe a little bit lower price, but I would say always buy in Katy ISD because that's just gonna be more desirable for renters in the future as well as future homeowners when you do go to sell. So number 4 is I would negotiate to get the best deal I possibly could, and I always do that. Whether you're buying a resale home or a new home from a builder, many times I can negotiate more incentives and so forth when working with a builder. Just depends on what you're looking for, but try to get the best deal possible because that's just going to help you when you're going to sell and also to build equity a little bit faster. So I always do that if my clients approve of it. And then with that, I would make sure to buy from one of the better builders in Sunterra. There's some really top end great builders, and then there's some that are not as great. And so in this video over here, I rank them and kind of talk about some of the pros and cons of these different builders and give you an idea of what to look for when you buy a new home in Sunterra.